welcome everyone. Welcome. Happy Saturday. Thanks for coming and joining us here at Guyverse. If you guys haven't seen us, I'm Eddie. We have David right above, and we have Oscar to my right. Uh, so today's topic, what we'll be talking about is What If, the latest show from the MCU. And we wanted to cover episodes 1 and 2, kind of give our feedback as to what we think about it, how we feel, and kind of give our overall likes and hates about it. So I'll start it off with Oscar on this one. Like, what'd you think about it?
So far, I like the show. I personally really like the first episode, but I'm a little biased. I have a thing for taller women. So I lean more to the
she was tall and thick.
Yeah.
So I'm good for it.
She was snoo in my heart, and but for some reason a lot of people didn't like that episode. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the writing. I thought the action was cool, and again, she was tall.
Yeah.
But so far, I like the show.
You like it so far?
He's like,
He's like so far episode 1, huh? I did not like episode 1 as much, dude. I was telling David earlier, man, like after I watched episode 1, it was the first time in the MCU where I was not looking for the next episode or next movie. I was not looking forward to it because I was just like, yeah, like it was not the greatest. Like it was
even when you watch Ghost Rider.
That's not fair.
Ghost Rider's in it?
That's not fair, Dan. Why are you bringing up? Oh shit!
I was just asking.
Hey, you know what? I was much younger and I was a big fan of Nicolas Cage, so
All right.
I was excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, like after this episode, the first episode, I was just like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just not looking forward to it. It even went past a few days after the second episode came out where I just forgot about it, and I was like, oh, like I gotta watch it. And I watched it, and I was glad I did because like the second episode started to catch up a little bit more steam and a little bit more fleshed out and a lot better. Just the first episode was really, really cheesy for me. Just didn't really do it for me. I don't, David, what do you think?
I feel like my thought process is kind of in between you guys. At the beginning of episode 1 and 2, I was kind of like, not really feeling it. Didn't really feel like watching it. And then I watched the first episode. It kept my attention. There were like little details that I thought were off, like because we know like when you take the serum, it shows your true nature or whatever. And I feel like they made her big to make her look more like Captain America, but I don't think her like personality wise and who she was portrayed as in the series that she would have looked the same way. I feel like she wouldn't have been as big, and then it just made her like super OP. Like I think she was doing some stuff that the original Captain America wasn't able to do.
Yeah, seriously.
Like what?
I mean, this any fight scene, like when she threw a motorcycle. I don't think I saw Captain America throw any motorcycles. Like he rode them and like let them go, but he's never like thrown a motorcycle straight at somebody.
No. Age of Ultron. Remember when they're fighting in that forest in the snow, he's riding that motorcycle and then he somehow hits the brakes. He flips the bike and then throws it.
That's momentum. She grabs the motorcycle, stops, and throws it.
Damn,
he uses the momentum
at you, bro.
Yeah, like he's using the momentum to toss it, like, but she's just grabbing it and throwing it.
I mean, and David, right. She also stops a big ass like vehicle like head on.
Yeah, exactly. She runs right into the vehicle. Like, come on, like
super OP.
Well, I mean, the shield is supposed to take the all that what the physics of it, right? Like,
this is not the Black Panther's suit working in action. She just has a piece of metal that's that awesome metal, like. That's vibranium. It's not going to stop from her body getting all the impact hitting her.
David, you have to take whatever Oscar's saying with a grain of salt, man. He has a bias again.
I am biased.
It's fine. It's fine. She was thick. She had it, but she was super OP. She was super OP.
I agree.
And again, it's
I
all
agree.
like what if. I mean, obviously, what if series, but when she's fighting the when she turned into Wonder Woman and had the shield with the sword fighting the Hydra coming
Yeah.
out and then pushed it back inside, like, come
Yeah.
on, that's
I will give you that.
super OP.
I will give you that. Like combat experience wise, they both should have been the same,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
somehow she was showing better training, I guess you would say, compared to because Captain America doesn't become that badass of a fighter until what the Winter Soldier.
Over time, yeah,
Mhm.
it happens over time,
Yeah.
over all these films. She just went from
Yeah.
being just who she was, and like this, she fucking turns into this fucking badass martial artist. Like,
I mean,
I
will
will
give
agree to that.
I will give it to her that she did have more training and was more intimidating, supposed to like recognize as an agent, like during around the same time. So I can see her having some more like fighting experience, but she was like
Right.
super OP.
I was telling David, I think what made it like extra cheesy for me was that they were like really going into and digging deep on that fucking like that line that they had in the original movie where it's like you know maybe you just didn't have the right partner for like the dancing thing, because they were squeezing as much as they could out of it, because they threw that line in there like 3 or 4 times just differently. Like maybe you need a new, you know, you still owe me a dance, like maybe you didn't have the right partner. Like they threw it in different sections, different scenes. Like they were really fucking feeding off that and trying to like recall bring that from like the first one. I think that's what made it like really cheesy for me. I was just like, like come on.
I like cheesy. I don't mind the cheesiness. It's all part of it, especially that time, the time period when it's supposed to be. So I can see the cheesiness. I imagine.
You know, a part of me was. Go on.
Oh, I imagine,
Imagine
that Steve probably needed that Iron Man suit after the snoo with her because he couldn't really walk.
it's paralyzed.
He's crippled the waist down.
Yo, you know how they were flipping everything around?
Mhm.
I was kind of hoping, you know, that one scene where like Steve first gets the powers and he comes out shirtless, and then she quickly like touches him in the chest. I was kind of hoping he'd do the same thing, like, but then he gets slapped for it.
He would have died. That would have been the end of him.
Yeah,
He would not have survived it.
That would have been a wrap.
I would have been screaming out equality, like hands down.
But if you do notice the fact that she felt the need to stay there got people killed. Just destroyed the whole thing because she's like, no, I'm going to stay right here instead of going up in the stand. She messed everything up.
It's like,
and then instead of dropping him in,
it's like
instead of throwing him in to like
she
save
had
his
the apple.
life.
Instead of throwing him in to save his life, make him stronger, she's like, I got this. You guys it won't work. All these other people were like quitting. He's like, I'll do it. She's like, no, I'm gonna do this. All right, I got this.
That's just us like nitpicking again. And you said it like David, you were just like, I'm a nitpicker. You were like, you were nitpicking the episode.
That being said, I still liked it. I still liked the episode. It was more than what I was expecting. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And then, so the second episode, like that one, I thought was a lot better, a lot more fleshed out, a lot more characters, a lot more throwback characters. David, I want you to start this one off, man. What did you think about the second one?
Okay, I thought it was awesome. I like to say, since they switched the role and put a black guy in there, I mean, the universe was great. They flipped everything around completely. Like, everyone was cool. He's in there dapping it up with Thanos. Like, hey, man, like, like we can make everything work. And it did. Everybody was just vibing, just happy.
I know you want to wipe out half of the universe, but let's just like smoke a blunt and let's just like think about it.
He's like, let's do it this way. All right. He's like, let's do this up, bro.
I mean, you can't blame him.
And I mean, he still had the same idea.
You're upset.
It was
like I will give you that. It was weird.
It was weird.
No, like, cause even my wife was like, so he just talked him into like not doing it. Like, How do you change someone from like going, let's kill half of the population to like, yeah, maybe that's not a good idea.
No,
No.
well, that makes perfect sense though. I like that a lot. And I was telling David about this. Like, I loved that part of it because Thanos is not somebody who didn't like listen or was just completely fucking mental, right? What I was telling David about this, like that I love that touched on this is because I don't know if there was a lot of fan theories or people were actually saying there was Thanos was ranked number one villain of like the entire MCU. So, in these movies up to this point, if you rank them like literally out of all of them, right? Killmonger was like second, I think, and because they were just more fleshed out. But people were saying like because Thanos was so good, it's like you can understand what he's trying to do. It is very extreme, but we get it. And I was telling David, I was like, if the planet Earth right now, if we were getting so overpopulated, we were exceeding all of our resources, and we were tapping out our resources, something like that would fucking definitely help because it would wipe out half. And doing it at complete random, where it didn't matter if you were poor, rich, like famous or artist or just lazy or whatever, like it did not matter, completely at random, and did it at half, then it would balance shit out. So you can see it and you can understand it. So I liked that they brought that in. I don't know if the MCU was just listening to all the fans or what, but they were just like, let's do that in there because they were just like, Thanos was just like, but really think about it, like it's you know, he was just like kind of just like being nonchalant about it, and like he was still defending himself, but like jokingly, you know. I loved it. I love that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled him off as like a total dad at the end, right? So they're petting the dog. It's like, listen, you're just hearing me out, you know, half, you know. I will give you that. Like that was really well, in my opinion.
I think the only thing like I nitpicked with that one, like I was telling you before, Eddie, with like with T'Challa, like he kept his same personality as if he was the Black Panther, and like in my opinion, like I said, it's all whatever because it's what if.
Yep.
But like you would think that his personality had been slightly different considering he was picked up as a kid, and so who made him the Black Panther wasn't there. That was taken away from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that personality would not have been the same, and they kind of kept the same personality to go with it.
It would have heavily relied on Yondu being that father figure to help him grow that way, but it's not. And you're right, because like it's T'Challa that's always kind of telling Yondu and showing him the right way. So
they changed everyone else's personality and left his the same. So
I mean, and that's the. But here again, you know, when it comes to what if, is like we can nitpick it as much as we want, but at the end of the day, it's a what if. Like, what if in these scenarios, you know, what if this character was like this, or was Star-Lord, or was, you know, this, and so I mean, we can nitpick it all we want, but I think that's their whole premise of them making this particular series, and just kind of just doing it for the fans and being like, hey, like, well, there is a comic for what if, right?
So yeah,
and it's just pretty much just like all these different scenarios of people's favorite characters and what if they were pretty much in a different role. The voice acting, what for I would say 80% of everything was spot on, because they had the original actors all playing them. And Chadwick Boseman, you know, rest in peace, but you know, it was T'Challa, so that was phenomenal that he was still, you know, while he was here, he was still able to record all of his lines and do all that. So that was pretty cool. Kind of like when we heard Stan Lee's and we saw Stan Lee's final like appearance in the MCU, knowing that he passed already. Like that was cool. You were just like, oh, like there he is, you know, that's the last one. And so it was the same thing for me, at least. I was just like, oh man, like it's good hearing his voice, you know? So that was really cool. And then like Howard the Duck, I don't know if Oscar, you caught this, but it's still Seth Green. from the
Mhm.
original when they made Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was in another part, right? I can't remember. I think it was just the
Oh, it was
original.
a cutscene at the end, wasn't it?
The cutscene in the Guardians of the
Part two,
Galaxy.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it was
Was
Guardians of
it
the
one or
Galaxy.
two?
Yeah. One. It was one.
It was one.
No, it was one.
Yeah, but that was Seth Green, and I liked how they just reprised his role and put him back in there. And it's
Maybe we should watch
the
Howard
same
the
line
Duck.
too. Once you go duck.
Maybe we should watch Howard the Duck for our next review, Eddie.
Jesus Christ, I'm not
Yeah.
watching that.
The only way I'll accept like Howard the Duck back if like he gives out like a bomb ass line like no
Yeah.
if you duck or something.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a movie review on that, David.
Come on, we even have the poster. Come on.
Yo, we could get a little tipsy watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do a reacts video on it
Yeah,
and watch it
I'll
all
be down.
together.
I'll be down.
Jeez, man, that movie was, even for its time, it was just like, oh, it was
Yeah, it was
cringe.
pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
You don't remember any of it. I don't remember that movie.
I bet you remember it.
Yeah, I remember the
I
outfit.
was a kid.
I only remember it because somebody I watched some. I watch a YouTube Cinema Sins. I don't know if you guys watch Cinema Sins, and they tear that movie apart, and so that's the only part I remember about it. If you guys haven't seen it, I watch that because it tears every movie apart, just like I do.
Yo, it's
We'll
funny.
watch
'cause
it
if you
and give
ever-
all the positives.
I look
Yeah,
for positives.
it's funny because if you ever watch that movie, yeah, if you ever watch that movie and then read the comic, they're like almost two completely different atmospheres.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
man.
really adult, dude.
You can't. You gotta blame. You gotta blame the director on that one. We've seen it, and we've talked about how a director, if they know what they're doing, James Gunn, if they know what they're doing, they can make a phenomenal comic book movie. If they don't,
True.
they ruin it.
And what about for What If? I think they.
All right, it's still to be determined if I. Come back to me.
To be fair, there's too many variables.
Oscar, what do you think?
I think they're
Like,
doing good.
There's
So
too many variables. Like, I think there's too many variables because you do whatever you want, right? Practically. So, like, you obviously you're going to make changes, and it's going to be really up to the viewer to be like, do I like this change or not? But I mean, it's out of their control at that point, right?
Yeah, they're good. I would say just wait for all of them and binge them. This is nothing to be like, oh man, like next week's episode. I can't wait for that. Or you're not going to be like missing something. You know, from 1 to 2, there was no cliffhanger that leads into 2. From 2 to 3, I'm sure. We watched 2. There's no cliffhanger that's going to lead to episode 3. So you're okay to just skip them and just wait for them and just binge watch them. That's what I would recommend.
or just follow through watching them with us while we talk about them.
Mind
That way they're
blown.
not spoiled.
What about that?
No spoils.
So yeah, all right. Well, cool. We'll come back and we'll find some time. We'll review episode 3 for you guys once that hits and that comes out. So yeah. So thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. We really appreciate it. For anybody that's gonna be watching this afterwards, you can come join us once we start filming that episode 3 or 4 and so on. But yeah, this is Guyverse. Thanks a bunch.